Welcome to Conversations with Toi, a blogcast tackling life one episode at a time. This is the time to air out life's craziest moments. This space is all about speaking about life's hang-ups and ways in which we can leave better than when we started. Topics are all about ways we can find space to be better in life, love, mental space, and health.
Happy Friday. I hope that you have had the most amazing week, because one thing is for sure, you are absolutely deserving. Welcome to Conversations with Toi. I am Toi, your podcaster. I also am a content creator, freelance writer, blogger, social media maven. Listen, I wear a lot of hats, but the hats that I adore the most is being a wife and a mother of two. I'm sorry, because I don't want my kids to come for me. 3 beautifully amazing children. 3 of them. 2 girls, 1 boy. All amazing. I come to you on another wonderful Friday checking in. How are you actually feeling? Listen, this has been a pretty productive week for me. It's been low-key, high-key, a lot of things that's been happening in the background. I am enjoying the content creation process once again. This is a love relationship, but sometimes I get a little sprinkle of frustration with just the creating, the editing, all these other moving parts to it. But the actual creation of content, I adore. I love that part of it. So if this is your first time tuning into Conversations with Toi, welcome. On this podcast, I'm going to talk about everything when it comes to mental health and wellness, as well as what is happening on these internet streets, what I'm reading, what I'm watching, all the things, because it all ties into making us one sound, beautifully human person, flawed and all. And I am super grateful for your presence being on this podcast. Thank you guys. Y'all have been running my numbers up, and I love that for all of us, because again, it's important for me to make sure that whatever I'm putting out, that it feels genuine, that it feels like myself. And that, again, whenever you're coming onto my 5-second slice of the internet, whether you're following me on socials, whether you're following me on the blog, whether you're listening to the podcast, I pray that whatever it leaves you feeling a little bit better. It makes you feel seen. It makes you feel heard. All of the things. So I do not take it 1 second for granted that you are here. And I'm just grateful for you listening. I'm grateful for me to be able to use another platform to get my voice and my thought processes out, and just things that I share. Oftentimes, I'll be honest with you, it's going to be a lot of sharing of myself. And if you're like, oh my God, you're so vain, pump your brakes. It's not about uplifting me. It's not about making myself feel like anything. But I can tell my story better than anybody else can tell it. And because I can tell my story better than anybody else, I share my story not because I want to beat people to the punch, because I do. But the other part of it is that I know what I went through. I know the thoughts and the feelings that I've had behind it. And I know and understand the things that are surrounding all the other moving parts. And this is the bigger and, I know that my testimony, I'm a PK, preacher's kid, and my testimony, the things that I've been through, cannot be for nothing. I can't think that all the postpartum depression that I went through was for nothing. Like it was just for me to have this experience, because when I hear other women share their experiences of postpartum, I realize that I'm not by myself. And when you hear and you're going through postpartum, if you ever had somebody around you have gone through postpartum, you're like, you know what? These stories are real. This is true. This is real life. If I share my stories about the ups and downs of being married, somebody's going to be like, girl, yes, absolutely. I know that. I want to take my husband and throw him in the basket because he refuses to put his clothes in the basket. Like, there's so many things that we connect. And when you share your stories, you're sharing connection. And the more you share connection, it literally builds a community. So if you came for any other reason than just that, go ahead and listen, leave a review and all the things. But just know, you find the place where you resonate. That's all I can say, is find the place that you can resonate. So before I get into the podcast episode, the topic for today, I do want to talk about just, again, a check-in. This week has been, again, I said very productive, but very trying. I had to take the car to the car dealership and get it looked at. But I want to honor, so grateful, because even in the midst of, if you have ever had a car and it went left, you needed to get some work done, you immediately cringe, and then your pockets immediately cringe, and then your wallet starts to cringe. Everything about car dealers and car dealership, if you're not there, there's no reason for you to be there unless you're buying a car or you are getting a car fixed. And so those two things are going to be you're not going there to hang out. That's not a hangout spot. I'd rather hang out at Wawa than go to a car dealership. Like, there's no reason for me to be there. However, I'm blessed and I'm grateful for things not being as bad as it honestly could have been. And I am just grateful for that. But one big happy thing, listen, one thing that I enjoyed this week that really filled me up in ways I didn't even think was manageable was me buying a Bible. Now listen, clutch your little pearls. I get it. Not everybody believes in Jesus. Not everybody believes in the Bible, and that's okay. But over here, I believe that, right? I believe in God. I believe in all the things. I have not had a Bible since I was a kid. Now, here's the thing. I actually had my childhood Bible. I carried that Bible from childhood all the way through college and then beyond. 4 years ago, we had a huge, I believe it was 4 years ago, might be a little longer, but not by much, like 4.5, 4 and a couple months, something to that effect. But 4 years ago, we had this huge flood in our near house, basically in our house. So our entire block had been flooded out. We live in a flood prone area, and it just really did some damage. We have a fully furnished and finished basement, and that had to be redone. A lot of the things that we have, all these things that we keep in storage, because I have a garage, but we don't use it for cars. Like, we don't store our car in there, which I find to be really ridiculous. But since we don't store a car in there, we store things. So we have all these things that are blocked in there. And honestly, I feel like one day I'm just going to say, come and just have one of those trucks load up and everything that's in the garage can go. Because if we haven't touched it, haven't seen it, probably should go. I say all that to say is that the garage, the basement, everything, again, is fully finished. It's fully furnished. All of the things, it got flooded out. So we had to just replace a bunch of things. And one of the things that got flooded out with all the things that I had was my Bible. Now, one could argue, what the heck was your Bible doing in the garage? You obviously wasn't using it. Yes, I wasn't using it in a traditional sense, but we have all these things. I have daily devotionals that I read. You have the Bible app. You have all kinds of things, right? But I missed having an actual Bible. So I kept saying, I'm going to get a Bible. Let me just go ahead and get a Bible. Now, back in the days, I remember Bibles being a little pricey. Now, again, I get it. I was a child that was gifted to me from my parents, I'm sure, or grandparents, somebody. But I still remember back in the days going to stores and seeing that they were pricey. I went to the store, aka Barnes and Nobles, and I think the Bible was like it was less than $20. Right? They had some bigger ones and they had more, pricier ones and all the stuff. Listen, and I was looking for a King James, and it was hard to even find a King James. Everybody wants the new international version, this new version, this thin version. Just give me the old-fashioned King James, right? Now, the only drawback to the one that I have is that it's not big. Like, the lettering and the words are not big, so I should have known that for how small it was. But nonetheless, I got a Bible and I'm super excited. I've been reading it since I've gotten it. I haven't necessarily put it down. I've been using it to read in my scriptures in the morning. And again, it's something that I actually do enjoy. So, when you get older, the things that my parents were trying to get me to do when I was younger, like carry your Bible everywhere you go and do this and do that, I was like, that's super lame. Like, oh my God, my friends are going to make fun of me. Now, my friends all knew in high school that I love Jesus. Like, they knew I went to church. They knew we was in church, everything, because we never went to any social events. Like, we couldn't go to like homecoming. And my kids have gone to like several proms. My son, he's my middle son, and he's gone to like several, things socially and everything else. These are things that I just would not have had an experience, right? And so back in the days, it would be so crazy to be like walking around with your Bible because you would be considered like a quote unquote Bible thumper. However, as I've gotten older, that Bible's coming with me. Like, I'm gonna have it with me. Now, you may not see me carrying it like I'm lifting up like a scroll or nothing, but it's nothing for me to just be like, okay, I got it with me. I'm reading it. None of that. And I'm so grateful for growth. Like, as you get older, the old people would say, as you'll understand it better by and by. And so that's one of the things that I purchased that I'm super proud of. Like, really super proud of. Other than that, I just have been trying to take it easy, getting things done. This has been a slower week. There's been a lot of events that I was invited to. Some I could not make. And I'm just grateful for even having the invitation, and just grateful for just, the different ways in which I'm showing up in my own content creation. Like, really taking joy for the things that I choose to create and learning to create outside of these events. Listen, if your page is full of stuff that you just go to an event to event and to event, you don't make no new series, you don't have like new talks. Are you really a content creator? Like, I want you to dig deep into what it means to be a content creator. And you really have to be able the type of person that can make content, especially if you have a niche. If you are a lifestyle content creator, but you're never creating anything that's lifestyle, like, I don't know what to tell you. If you are a foodie, then you should really be finding different ways to do a foodie. Like, you can do, listen, I have so many ideas, like so many ideas. So I say all that to say is that there's something for everyone who are content creators. There's room for everyone. So do what works best for you. I'm also going to end with some TikTok things that I found on the internets and these streets. But for today's episode, today's topic, if we should say, we're going to be talking about spring transitions and mental health. Listen, I get it. Spring has sprung and many of us are feeling good. Like, I love the fact that we can be outside. This weather's acting up though. Like, the fact that we're still having cold fronts in the middle of, now granted, it's April and April has been known to have cold moments. We've even had times when there's been snow. It's just that we've been having these 70, 80 plus days, and then we go from 70, 80 to 40, from 70, 80 to 30, and even 70, 80 to 20 to freezing points. I'm just saying. So, as we're stepping into spring, spring will hit and it will feel very different. And the tension between wanting to bloom and wanting to stay inside, meaning going outside, really wanting to just like really thrive, showcase ourselves, and then be like, you know what, I'm about to be inside because I don't know if I want to be, outside and seeing people and dealing with all those things. But acknowledging that, yes, spring can feel hopeful, but can also feel overwhelming because you have a new lease. You have this new lease on life. You have this new vibe. You have this new mindset. And these can mess with your mood. Like, the longer days make you feel like you have to be productive. For instance, I was having a conversation with my husband, and we have been very intentional, indirectly being intentional about, like, let's get into bed. Like, y'all know I've been talking about my sleep and how I struggle with sleep, and I don't struggle to go to sleep. I can go to sleep at a drop of a dime. If you let me sit too long, I can be sleeping in a matter of 2.3 seconds. Okay, I don't have a problem going to sleep. I have a problem of going to bed at a decent hour. Like, instead of going to bed at 11:30, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 1:30, knowing I'm going to be on the struggle bus to get up in the next morning to take them children to school, learning to get into bed and getting that full rest of sleep. And we have been talking about, like, okay, it's 10 o'clock, so there's a list of things that we could be doing. He's doing his thing, running his business, and I have my business. I'm doing stuff. There's never a time in the day that I could ever tell you that there's nothing for me to do. If you ever hear that come out of my mouth, immediately, just go ahead and grab me, beat me down, get me, because I'm telling you I'm lying. There's always editing. There's always something to write about. There's always a place to be. So this thought process of always having to feel productive. We got to do something. Let's go do something. My husband was like, I got 6 things to do. You got probably 6 or 10 things to do. Let's figure out which one we're going to do. And I said, cool, let's go to bed. And he looked at me puzzled, but I was like, listen, we don't have to fill every ounce of time with something. It doesn't mean that because we have these longer days now that we have to have it occupied with work and work mindset every single moment. Sometimes sleep is the way we're supposed to be doing. Sometimes rest is the way to do it. Sometimes snuggling is the way to do it. And if it leads to something else as a married woman, then so be it. It is things to be done, but we don't have to feel productive. We don't always have to do everything and occupy every single moment. Also, these social expectations to outside, we outside, we outside again, we outside. I don't always want to be outside because being outside for any of us means we got to pay, we got to spend money. If I go out that door, I'm spending money. I'm going to get a coffee, I'm spending money. I'm going to go get a cocktail with my friends, saying I'm only going to get 2, end up getting 2.5, 3, getting an Uber. It costs to be outside. So the thought process of then, like, I have to be outside, I have to be socializing, I have to be hanging out. And for somebody who goes to events 4 days a week, I'm going to keep it 100 because I go out 4 days a week, if not more than that sometimes. Now, this week has been low, but most weeks have been pretty high. Let me just tell you right now, sometimes I'd be so stressed out. I looked at my calendar and I saw over the weekend that there's going to be a lot of things happening on Sunday, but Saturday, I can actually go drop my child off, go get my hair done, and come back home and be a bum on the couch if I choose to. Now, will I be a full bum on the couch? Probably not. But I actually have the option. There's not much going on. But that socialization expectations are real. So you got these longer days, you got these social expectations, and then these trees the Lorax gave us is causing allergies. I'm overloaded with sensory moments. We got fatigue happening. We're tired now because we're sneezing. I sneezed 3 times in 15 minutes and I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and get my medication. Let me go ahead and get this allergy medication. Because obviously I'm going to be needing. I didn't even think we would be having allergy issues so early. But I know I'm not the only one that feels that. And then it's like, okay, everybody else seems like they are jumping around and doing all these things outside and they're like making things happen. And I'm like, I'm simply doing the bare bone basics. Yeah, I'm like picking up the kids. I'm at my, listen, y'all, extend your hand to wherever you are. Just extend your hand to your phone, your laptop, wherever you listen to this at. Because I am almost less than 2 months away from Uber family duties. Praise be. Lord, keep my husband in the mighty name of Jesus, because I need that man back on the road safely, yes, but I need him back in his car, because the way that my life is about to be set up, amen. That's all I'm going to say. I'm grateful for that. Okay. But again, this spring and mental health, you may be feeling all over the place. Again, spring has sprung, but you might be having a mental block. Now, we talked about getting outside. Ooh, we outside. We on top of cars. And, that's going to come in more in summertime. But we still outside, right? We get to get out with our girlfriends and get to go hang out with your dudes. Like, it's outside. It's getting a little warmer. Let's go play a game of ball. Like, all kinds of things are happening. But what if for whatever reason, you feel like you're having an internal tug of war? What does that mean? You feel like you want connections. You want to get outside. You want to do all these things over. But you're feeling a little bit socially rusty. Like, you've been inside, you've been hibernating, you saw friends when you could, you kind of was reading, you was kind of doing like the low-key things because winter was bringing winter blues. You might have been like me. I told y'all I was fighting for my life in these streets of life, and it was kicking my behind, and it was doing an overload. And so you might be coming from that and now wanting to get outside and do a little bit more. You might be feeling a little rusty, socially rusty, and it's okay. It's okay. Do you hear me? It is okay. And because it is okay, I want you to understand that if that is what you're feeling, slow it down. Don't just jump out. Take some time. Take a little bit of time. Don't just jump out. Okay. What if the anxiety of, again, getting out and becoming more social, what if that is stressing you out? What if that is making you feel all the feels? What if that is saying to yourself, you know what? I don't know if I can do this. I really am not ready for happy hours 3-4 days a week. Ma'am, don't go 3-4 days a week. Sir, don't go 3-4 days a week. Go when you can. Maybe, hey, I'll meet up with you on a Friday. We can kind of take it easy, kind of do a little catch up with somebody. Do a little like, okay, I'm going to meet with you. I'm going to meet with a couple of friends. Like, let's do brunch. There's ways around it. Okay. There's literally ways around it. And then for people like myself who are parents, like, getting out there and getting to these streets, like, it's a lot. For instance, my children are older. My youngest is 12 years old. Everybody else, 14, 16, almost 17. Listen, these kids' social schedules are out of control. I took my son last weekend to a birthday party. Then we had to go take him to go find an outfit because he's going to be going to someone else's prom. Then we had to go do this. Then we had to go that. Parenting fatigue and these routines and all these things and places that these children's got to go is a lot. Again, I'm so grateful that I looked at the calendar for this weekend and said, okay, if I could just get through, drop off and this and that, I'm going to be okay, because there's not much going on. It's a rarity that happens on a Saturday. It's a rarity. But these ways in which we show up for our families, and we have to adhere to these different schedules, because now we got the spring babies, which I actually am a spring baby. And as a spring baby, you have all these expectations, like all these birthday parties that are now coming up, and you got this and that happening. It's a lot going on. And because we're in the very touches of spring, you may be still dealing with some winter blues issues. Again, Seasonal depression can happen at any point. It doesn't matter. It's not a winter thing. It's just that more people experience what they consider to be winter blues. Because we're in the touches of spring, what if you are excited for spring? What if you just feel like you haven't fully tapped in? What if you feel like, okay, this weather is going up and down? And listen, this weather going up and down is messing with people's emotions, and it can mess with your mental health. It can make you feel all the different things. So don't feel a ways like you have to work through it. You really just have to work through it, because a lot of people will make you feel like you should be so happy that it is spring, and because you were dealing with your winter blues, that because it is sunnier outside, because there is longer days where it's sun outside, that is an automatic cure-all. No, you don't just leap from one situation to another. You're not a part of Drake's team from a 0 to 100. Like, a lot of times you have to progress, and progression could feel like slower because you're comparing yourself to the things that other people are doing online. I don't want that for you. Now, for my busy people, because we are shifting to a new season, it's a new season. Yes, a new season. Listen, you're busy. You're booked. You're busy. You're out here. You stepping your baby toe into socializing. You're getting the children where they need to be if you're a parent. You are trying to beat up for the happy hours. You're trying to also get outside and take care of your wellness. You're doing your 10-minute walks. You're trying to drink your water. You're trying to mind your business, but you're trying your best. You're trying your best. But how do you help and how do you cope with these busy, overwhelming days? Let me just tell you right now, I need you to do some me time. Again, me time is important. I want you to not feel like you have to do it all, right? I want you to practice small moments. For instance, I went to my parents' house for Easter, and I won't say always, but I would say almost every other trip, I try to balance it out, not look too greedy. But oftentimes I go and I like kind of grocery shop at my parents' house. I feel like that's just a rite of passage, and I can't wait for my kids to get to the point when they're healthy and at that age and they do it to me. But like, they have my dad. I told you, my dad is a tea person. Like, he's been a tea person his whole life. His father was the same way. My parents, especially specifically my father, he literally gets 17 different variations of tea. So every other visit, I try to come in, I bring a little sandwich bag, or I pour it, put it in my bag. But he'll give me these different tea bags, different kinds. But even just as simple as taking your time to really sip and savor your tea, to read a book, to listen to a podcast like you're doing right now, to simply be quiet in the stillness of just drinking you should only be able to hear your slurping of your tea sometimes, because you can create a small pocket of wellness without spending a lot of money. Sometimes when I'm sipping those teas, I literally will set an alarm, like a little alarm clock, or not alarm clock, but like a timer for 15 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to sip my tea slow. I'm going to enjoy this moment, because I know when them 15 minutes is over, somebody's going to be asking me to take them somewhere, do something, go somewhere, or a deadline's going to come up, or something has to be done. And I am telling you, with everything that I can tell you, sometimes you have to create those small pockets of moments. We are so in a let's go, let's get everything done, that we don't take the time to do that. So, what are some other ways that you can do a little moment, a pocket of moments? You can do like a 30-second emotional inventory. Sometimes I'll sit quietly and I'll say, am I angry? And if I'm angry, why am I angry? Am I happy? Why am I happy? Is it because of the joy that I'm creating inside of myself? Is it because of something? Am I just happy for payday? Am I just happy for the day that, my direct deposit from a campaign hits? What is making me joyful? What's making me happy? That 30 seconds of really checking in could help. Also, listen, I said it before, I must say it again. Fresh air, sunlight. Also, a little trick I've learned: if you put a little bit of cold water on your wrist, especially if you're having a really wonky day, it could literally make and reshift your focus too. Don't count it out. I'm telling you, water is free. Well, water is free-ish. It's free-ish, right? And how about like a social pace? What's a social pace? If you're used to, like when I first started doing this content creation, and I was hustling to just do what I loved, but also hustling because I knew that it was going to be a means to an end. And so I would go, yes, I get invited to something on Monday. Cool, I'm going to go. Now I get invited to 2 things on Monday. I'm going to go to this at this top of the hour on Monday, and I'm going to switch over and I'm going to ride out and I'm going to go to the second event. And I was doing that for a long while. And my husband was, doing all the things with the kids, and it gave me this space to create and hustle. But now I'm at a place where I'm a little bit more of a staple content creator. So I don't have to say yes. So you may be like, well, girl, I ain't no content creator, but you can create the social pace of one yes, one no. So for every yes that you give for something, give something else a no. That could be as simply as saying no thank you to something. Maybe you don't really feel like taking Aunt Susie over across the town and you're not able to do it. So you say yes to, like, I'll make sure you get there. Maybe I'll get you an Uber, but no, I'm not going to be the one that drives you. So it's one yes, one no. For me, it's very easy. If I say yes to something, I can't do something on another day, or maybe I don't want to have back-to-back days where my calendar is full. So I'll say yes to something, but then I'll say no to something. So it's one yes, one no. Put that into practice, right? So we're doing a mood check-in where we're doing 30 seconds of like checking where our emotions are. We're getting some fresh air and sunlight. We're putting a little bit of cold water on our wrists. Again, that definitely does change the game. And we're choosing the social pace where we say one yes and we say one no. Again, also touching grass. Y'all be out here making fun of people talking about they need to touch grass, but are you touching grass? How many have I heard? I've seen y'all in them comment sections and y'all be talking about, like, you need to touch grass. You got too much. Not to me. Y'all ain't never said it to me because I be outside touching grass. Y'all don't got to say that to me. I'm good. Just so we're clear. I'm talking about in general. I've seen people post something. It could be a wild story, right? Or wild something happening. And y'all will get in the comments, you must got too much time on your hand. You need to touch some grass. But my question is, when did you touch grass? When the last time you touched some grass? Do you know what touching grass means? It means getting outside and finding an activity. I say this at the end of every episode, and I say, find one activity that you love that has nothing to do with your titles. I almost can say it verbatim. I say it so often. But how many of you are actually touching grass? How many of you are actually sitting outside on your porch with some fresh air? How many of you are taking a walk? How many of you are finding an activity that requires you to show up every Monday because that's the day that your classmates are? It could be as simple as yoga. It could be as simple as taking a class. When the last time you touched some grass? When the last time you touched grass? Y'all keep telling everybody else to touch grass, but you better get on ahead and touch some grass yourself. That's a moment right there. Okay. And also, child, y'all need a digital boundary. For instance, if something triggers you, like, let's give an example of, like, you keep hearing people talk about the spring glow up, which is true. It's real, right? It's actually real. Do you not? I have a ponytail in my hair right now, and I don't need your judgment. Maybe you'll see me. I think there's a couple of pieces of content out where I may have just had my ponytail in. Anybody that has been following me for a little while knows that if you see me in a ponytail maybe 1 or 2 times, you know my hair appointment is very much nigh. It's very close, okay? And because it's close, I done threw this hair up into a ponytail because that's where we're at right now. I am not team put heat in my hair. I try to do as limited as much as heat because I like to get my hair pressed 2 times a month. I go every 2 weeks, 2 times a month. She gonna press my hair out to the gods. She gonna have it down to she gonna have it pressed. You understand me? But then at some point, life be lifing, and because I either work out or I'm doing too much or just cleaning this house sometimes makes it be doing the most. Now, due to all those factors, right? Due to all of those factors, there are a times and a half when I have to step back and allow myself time to go back and get myself together. Okay. And if spring glow up, just as an example, is something that triggers you because you feel like you're not in your glow up season. I've seen it. People be like, I'm not in my glow up season. I don't want to hear nothing about glow up. Well, you control your phone. The phone shouldn't be controlling you. Mute it. Mute all those types of content. If you need to take a digital break, meaning, hey, maybe you take a break from scrolling so much. Listen, it's very easy. Even as a content creator, as much as I put content out on these streets, sometimes the content be doing too much. Like, sometimes seeing too much content can actually be a bad thing. You're not alone. Trust me, you're not. So again, I want to let you know, spring has sprung. Your mental health may be improving. Doesn't mean that it has to be at perfection. Your mental health may come in waves. It doesn't mean that something is wrong with you. It simply means you're human. Because as human beings, we are folks that can go up or down and all the way around the mulberry bush. Okay, we got things. So don't feel like you have to do everything right away. Now that we have sprung, it doesn't mean you have to leap into this everlasting joy. You don't have to do all those things. What you are required to do is to take care of yourself and take your time to think about your mental health and wellness, to take yourself and figure out what spring means to you and how to get into it very slowly. Just because everybody else is doing it don't mean you have to. You need to find your own voice. You need to figure out what it means to you. How are you going to bloom this season? How are you going to show up for yourself this season? Are you going to try something new? Are you going to try your hand at baking something? Maybe go to a baking class. Maybe take 1 or 2 classes. Maybe you're learning to cook a new dish. Maybe you could just go buy, or listen, you don't even got to buy anymore. Maybe you'll just go online and try a new recipe, right? Maybe you decide that you're going to take a new workout class because you've been having your eye on this workout class, and you're saying to yourself, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that. And maybe the time to try that is actually now. Whatever the case may be, you do not have to spring and leap into spring with everything that you have. Spring is going to be here for a little bit. You can take care of yourself during those moments until we transition to the summer. You can take the time to work on your body, to work on your mind, to read your Bible like I am, or read whatever book you're choosing to read. Maybe you just take the time to enjoy the people that are around you. Maybe just cleaning your house and adding some color. Right? There's a gamut of ways to do this. Don't be so hard on yourself because you're watching what Susie Sulame is doing. She doing what she doing because that's what's working for her. Don't do what she doing, because if you ain't got capacity, like Sister Sulame, you're going to find yourself overwhelmed and stressed out. Okay? I love you. I want you to get it together, and I want you to take your time. Now let's see what's happening in these internet streets. Now, as a church baby, there has always been a reverence for the people of God and the people of God, the men and women of God, right? And I am married to a Catholic man. We have children who are being raised Catholic. Actually, they're being raised both ways. They're being raised as a Catholic and as a Christian because I'm going to be honest, there's not too much of a difference. Now, don't fight me if you are Catholic. If you are one of those devout Catholics that believes by the book certain ways, God bless you. But the priests that I have encountered, the ones I have encountered, one passed away. Father Corley literally left here and took my heart with him. That priest was the most down-to-earth priest I have ever met in my life. And every time I would show up to them Catholic church services on Sunday, that man gave it his all. And when he would talk to you, he would talk to you just as clear as I'm talking to you on this podcast. Wasn't no big old and these and thous that I've experienced in my church. Now, see, as a Christian, as a quote-unquote non-denominational, the reason why I say quote-unquote is because non-denominational is a denomination, but what do I know? Because it's a denomination, but we call it non-denominational. It's basically saying we ain't putting our names on a bunch of stuff. We're not Baptist. We're not Pentecostal. We're not doing this, but we just everything. Okay. So growing up like that and then experiencing the Catholic Church, I just have a few questions. How is the Pentagon? How is the government threatening the Pope? Now, there is a lot of foolishness that happens in everybody's church, no matter what background you are. The Catholic Church got they mess. They always involved in something messy. But so is non-denominational, Baptist, Pentecostal, Muslim. Everybody got some junk in their trunk. Everybody has got something going on with them. If you ask anybody, there's a church hurt around the globe, around any religious setup. And that's just facts. Okay? But as a PK, a preacher's kid, there's a certain reverence that you would give to people that are practicing their religion and the Pope, who is the highest in the Catholic Church, right? I'm confusion. Now, in the Bible, it says, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. I would even give that reference to even some false prophets, even to folks who know they ain't quite living right. I would still just walk a little. I mean, I would call you out, as I'm just going to call anybody out. I really don't care. But I would walk a little airy, but for to the Pentagon, the government, how are y'all threatening the Pope? What are y'all doing? Who is in charge? I mean, I know who's in charge. We already know. But why are y'all like this? I would never formulate my lips to threaten no man or woman of God. I mean, I've been in situations. I've said this very nicely, but I'll be saying this very clearly. My ex-pastor, before he passed away, and I were not in good terms. I did not agree with the way in which he lived his life towards the end of his life, with all the decisions that he has made. I didn't agree with them, right? And I've been very adamant about speaking not up about it, not in the recent years, but when everything was going left and going down. Yeah, I was very adamant, but I was very truthful in the things that I was saying. But I wouldn't disrespect nobody. Now, if there was a disrespect level, he might have been on the level that he could have been disrespected, and I would just had to say, God, forgive me later. I'd rather ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. However, I am not of the mindset that we just start making idle threats to anybody's man of God, regardless of who they are, who they serve. I just feel like reference is reference. Reverence is reference. And I'm going to go ahead and send some tempers up, which means send some prayers up for everybody in the Pentagon that thought this was a good idea, to the president who thought this was a good idea, to all the people that's under and surrounding him, that and everybody that think this is a good idea. It is not. Now, this is not to put the priest or the Pope, because this is not just a regular priest. This is the Pope. This is the priest of priests. This is like the high priest. We're not going to just be willy-nilly and threatening the Pope. So that's one of the stories I saw on the internet streets. Let's hit you with one more. The second story, we going from priest to foolishness. Now, the second story, I talked about this, I believe, last week or the week before. I do not remember. And I'm thinking more last week because I was out 2 weeks and I didn't tell y'all, and I'm sorry. We back, okay? Again, I saw Versus. I thought Versus was good. I thought Versus was entertaining. That turtleneck. Listen, I thought it was a great song. It's got a chokehold on everybody. Again, I talked about not talking about the men and women of God, or at least not being disrespectful to the men and women of God. And I have a weird relationship mindset around Pastor Jamal Bryant. There have been many a times, just from his raggedy of things that he's put out in his own life, things that we knew about him that we shouldn't have known because it shouldn't have been happening. He shouldn't have been doing it. I say all that to say that in my mind, I just thought that he was getting to a better place. Like, he's been doing better things in the community. He went left with the Target announcement. Nobody gave him authorization. And now he's bringing Tank to the church, or he called it the stage, which is really what it is because it's just pure entertainment, to talk about Turtleneck Tuesday. Who asked for that? Who's asking for Turtleneck Tuesday? And his wife running off the stage and him mentioning that, his wife is me. Like, if I have seen Tank in the flush, in very much in color, 3D, 4D, HD TV. I have seen that man. I sat in the front row. My coworker at the time, whatever job I was at, she gave me tickets for her tickets, right? And she had a daughter, was a little older than my children. So we went. She was a young lady now. I don't think I was taking somebody's child. But me and her went to go see Tank. It was in here in Philly. She gave me the tickets to see him. And let me just tell you, everything that you see about him online, yes, the man is glorious. Now, he was married then. I was married then, all the things. So when I saw Pastor Jamal's Bryant, the wife, run off and she was in her, because she's, Tank, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I'm going to run like that too. Yeah, I'm going to do the same. Because when he was in front of me, physically, like, yeah, y'all might have seen him on TV, and again, he's a good looking man on TV. But why do we need to have yet man in the quote unquote church, on the quote unquote stage, whether it's the pulpit, the stage, a church, a hen house, whatever it is? Why do we need a Turtleneck Tuesday? Now, I was with Kurt Franklin when he did the turtleneck, because that man do be wearing turtlenecks. Kurt Franklin is known to wear a turtleneck from here. That's just his style. That's his style. That's what he do. But I didn't know why we needed to have Turtleneck Tuesday at the church, the hen house, the penthouse, the pulpit, the stage. I'm not sure, but that's the story number 2 that I saw on these internet streets. I'm gonna give you one more before we close. One more. Now, one little conversation that I do want to have, I saw this on the internet streets about women saying that they missed their life before they had children. And of course, there are so many people flooding them that conversation saying, then you should have thought about that before you have children. Let me tell you something right now. As a mother of 3 amazing children, I told you that. I almost said 2 at the beginning of this episode, but they are 3 of them. I do have 3, 2 girls and a boy. I'm going to tell you something from somebody who really, really lived her 20s. Like, I was out here in these streets. Do you understand me? To my children, if you are listening, earmuff yourself right now. I'm going to tell you right now. I traveled. I partied. I drank. I had a good time. I dated. Okay? Yes. Yes. So, the life that I had before children was an extreme amounts of fun because it was my season for fun. However, I will catch a glimpse of every now and again. I'll catch a glimpse of the old Toy. Now, the old Toy was raggedy, even on the inside, even with all that partying and stuff. But her lifestyle was glorious. She was out here doing good work, right? Doing what 20 years olds are supposed to be doing. But even as a great mother that I am to my children, I do have a flashback. Now, I don't miss it to the point where I wish I could switch places. But to chastise a woman, a mother, and say that she's not a good mother because she says she misses it. Now, I would never be on these internet streets telling nobody that I missed it if I was saying it in the sense of saying that I wanted it more than I wanted to be a mother. Now, that's a different story. Then you need to talk to somebody about that. But I tell everybody that is of childbearing age, meaning if you are a young girl, and when I mean by young girl, I mean like my 16-year-old daughter, we and her have conversations about her protecting her fertility. And because I'm telling her to protect her fertility, I told her straight from the gate, don't have no children, no chillins that you cannot take care of. Meaning if that man decides to walk out that front door or God takes him up to heaven, or if he puts him in hell, that's between him and his Jesus. But don't you have no children that you cannot take care of on your own. Protect your fertility. With all that being said, I have also told my 3 children, all 3 of them, the girls and the boy, because somehow we keep leaving these sons out when we need to be having a conversation with these sons. The son and my 2 daughters, don't have no children until you have lived your life. I want you to have children when you get your passport and you can put the stamps in. Not the stamps we're going to put in there, the ones you put in there. I want you to have traveled. I want you to have girls trips. I want you to have solo staycations. I want you to see the world. I want you to do all those things before you start settling down, getting married and or having children. Because once you do have children, it's not that your life is over, but you need to be very circumspect that you can't just do what you want to do when you want to do it. And because you can't do what you want to do when you want to do it, because you have responsibility, I got responsibilities now, you need to be sure that your anchor holds. Stop jumping these children as soon as they turn 18, 21, they found a little girlfriend. Now you trying to push out, when y'all going to get married, you're going to get married. Leave them people alone. Because again, I'm praying that the conversation that this mother was having was that she misses it because she had glimpses of it. Like I have glimpses of being out there in my 20s. I was listening to some Uncle Luke the other day, and I was remembering when my knees was down to the grizound. I'm talking about bare bones. You talking about scrub the ground. Oh, I was clenching the grounds because I was out here getting my good dances on. And because I was getting my good dances, I remember them days when you be up until 2:30 in the morning. You ain't coming home till 4 o'clock. You get a little bite to eat. You go to sleep, or you just, you passed out because you done had a couple drinks and you go to bed. Listen, the 20s. Even I didn't have my first child till I was 28. So yeah, a time was had. So for mothers, it's nothing to be ashamed of if you have a glimpse of your early days, your prime. Well, you still in your prime if you're in your 40s. I'm in my prime. But when you was in your peak time of your show enough partying, if you was in your peak time of just having freedom, because not everybody is a partier, right? You may just miss the freedom. Right? Mothers do miss the freedom because when you are tied, when your children is tied to your hips, I was a stay-at-home mom for many, many moons. Okay? And them chillins was tied to my hips. Wherever I go, they will surely go. I was with them 24/7. So, can a mother miss the freedom that she had before she had children? Yes. But not to the point where she would want to exchange it. If you get to the point where you want to exchange, I want you to have a conversation with someone. That may mean you need to talk to somebody to get some help. That may mean that if you are married and you have somebody on your side, like statewide, State Farm, you need to make sure that you get some help. Hey, I need to take a little me day. I need to take a week off. I need to go do a little vacation or something. See, you can refresh yourself in motherhood without losing yourself in motherhood, right? And if you learn to bring in your own habits, your own talents, your own hobbies while you're being a mother, it'll make it easier. Because I know back in the days when they would say your life is now your children, they're correct. You do have to be there and do all the things for your children. However, we have learned in our soft life now, because we're not in survival mode as mothers were in their days. We're not in survival mode as we were before. We know that we can solicit the help of the people who helped make them children. See, back in the days, the fathers just made sure the bills was paid. They didn't help change diapers. They didn't help do none of those things. As far as me and my house, we gonna change them diapers together. There's been many a days. My kids were younger because I was the stay-at-home mom. When it came to that weekend time, my husband clocked all the way in, and it wasn't something that I had to tell him. He just naturally did. So that means when them children, even though I was breastfeeding, once I got done feeding that baby, he come and get that baby, and then they would just go do whatever they was going to do because I rested on the weekends. I got my sleep. I got my renewal back because I had to tap back on in because I was a stay-at-home mom. And I'm not about to debate y'all whether stay-at-home mom or versus nobody else, because that don't fly over here. What I am telling you is that yes, you can miss motherhood. It's okay to miss it if you miss the glimpse of it, if you miss the ability to do the things that you would normally want to do. And that's why I tell people, when you are single and you are not married and you do not have children, I want you to enjoy. If you are a married couple and you have not yet stepped onto the parenthood, it's okay. I want you to get your travel on heart. Use your good vacation time and get out there and see some life, see some world, and do all those things. Because once children come, it doesn't stop. You just have to learn how to do it with them. You should be able to find a way, if that's what you choose to do, to still take flights with them children. My husband and I, we're getting better at it, but we used to take a trip together, right, as a couple, and then we took a family trip. Now we're doing that this year. We got it all booked up. We're doing all the things, but you got to stay on that course. You got to stay on that course. So I won't judge any woman for saying that she misses her life prior to kids, but it has to be the glimpse of it, right? It has to be the freedom and the ability to do it, but you got to learn how to create pockets. Remember I talked about the little pockets of wellness that you have to create? You have to also create the same thing while you're becoming a parent, because you can lose yourself as a wife, you can lose yourself as a mother, you can lose yourself as a father, and as a husband. You got to learn how to do all those things. And let me just tell you this, you can even lose yourself as a single person too. Don't get it twisted. It's not the person that you have in your life that's tied to your name or not that you lose yourself. You lose yourself because you're not focused, or you're too focused on things that don't matter. All right. And with that being said, this is today's podcast. Thank you for rocking out with me. Do 3 things. You're already doing 1. You're listening. So the next thing I want you to do is to review this on whatever platform you're listening to. And number 3, I want you to share this, because it could be somebody else that will feel a little lighter, a little better while they're working out on the treadmill, while they're listening to this, while they're at work, or whatever they may be doing. And you know the drill by now. I'm going to say this again. I said this in the podcast a little earlier, but I want you to find at least one activity that you do, that you enjoy, that has nothing to do with the titles that you carry. It's just simply what you enjoy doing, and make it all about you, because you are deserving to do that. Find one activity this weekend. We will be back next Friday for more Conversations with Toi.
Thank you as always for joining me. And I know that even in the deepest or joyful conversations, that there's something we can learn and apply. Until next time, I hope that you are doing better. If not, we will be back to talk some more and handle it. Peace to you and yours. Stay grounded.